Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, John.
My name is John DeMareo's, and this month I had the good fortune of turning 60 years of age. As I reflect on thank you. As I reflect on my life, I realize that there's at least 3 incidents where God has touched me in a special way. From my childhood to my college years, and then becoming a new parent, a father. A little bit of background on my family. My parents were original members here at St. Margaret's Church. And I remember attending Mass with my sister and my 3 brothers across the parking lot in the Keeper Hall before this church was built. We also attended the Knights of Columbus breakfast at St. Patrick's School before our chapter was organized. I remember my father in the back kitchen with his fellow knights cooking up pancakes and eggs while the 5 of us ate breakfast and then ran around the basement of the building. When I entered middle school, my father was diagnosed with skin cancer. And none of us expected him to pass so fast after he contracted cancer. It was a difficult time for all of us. At the time, it was like a scene from The Wizard of Oz, where the house was spinning around and being pulled up into the sky with a storm. I give my mother all the credit in the world as holding the family together, pointing us in the right direction, keeping the faith. Not long after, I remember she inviting my great uncle, Father John Cosgrove, to stay with us for a few days. He was a Jesuit priest. He was teaching in an old boys' school in Jaipur, India. And he was coming back to the States for one of his rare visits. Now, Father Cosgrove was a very calm and soft-spoken man. He was a perfect teacher for students. And he would listen to us, kind of like a caring doctor or physician, before he would respond to our comments. Last evening, before he went back to India, he came into my bedroom where I had an opportunity to speak to him one-on-one about my concerns. And I'll never forget how he looked me directly in the eye and said, "John, just talk to God every day and He will protect you. Whenever you need guidance or direction, reach out and ask for help. It could be a prayer, it could be a discussion. Just reach out as often as you need." Now, in those moments, I felt like Jesus was talking directly to me and everything was going to be okay. The next morning, I went to school, and Father Cosgrove, I never saw Father Cosgrove again. He passed away in India a few years later, but I've taken his words and I've lived by them the rest of my life. Speaking to the Lord every day, asking for guidance and direction with every obstacle and important decision of my life. And it remains a constant presence to me. Now, several years later, I was preparing to graduate from high school, and I didn't take the initiative to find a job for the summertime before I started in my freshman year of college. And in my mom's house, that wasn't an excuse for not working. A few weeks before graduation, about a week before graduation, my older brother David asked me to join him selling educational books door to door in the Deep South. I figured, why not? I was going to go to college for a business degree. I might as well see if this is the right field I wanted to stay in. That summer and the following 3 summers, while I was in college, I worked in Alabama, Georgia, Virginia, and Tennessee. And I can tell you, selling door-to-door was the hardest job I ever did in my entire life. I worked 12-hour days, 6 days a week in the hot southern summers. I was driving every year to a state I had never been before. I was working in towns I'd never heard of before. I was knocking on doors and meeting people I'd never met before in my entire life. I've had my fair share of doors slammed in my face, and I can tell you right now, I can't even count the number of dogs that were chasing me down the street. However, to be perfectly honest with you, it was the most rewarding experience in my career. At some point almost every day, one family, at least one family, took the time to pray for me, for my safety, for my protection, for my success. Praying with these kind strangers was a deep spiritual experience, and one that I will thank the Lord for. Now, I don't know about those Southern Baptists who are trying to convert this Catholic boy from the North, but they sure encourage me with their deep faith, their Southern food, and their hospitality. I can't count the number of invitations I received to join them on Sundays for services or any other family activities. As a result, I never felt more welcomed, like I was part of their family, but I only met them for a short period of time. As Father Cosgrove said, just talk to God every day, and He will protect you. Through my experience with these kind people, I knew God was always looking out after me in this unfamiliar location, wherever I may be. Now, so far as being a new father, my wife and I, Josie, have 3 beautiful children. And before we started our family, my wife worked as a nurse at the hospital at the University of Pennsylvania in the neonatal intensive care unit, taking care of premature babies. When we found out that she was pregnant for the first time, we were extremely excited for the good news and also ready to start our family. About 2 months into her pregnancy, she received a call from the doctor, and blood work that showed she had a high probability of having a Down syndrome child. It was a very difficult time for us, and I can tell you right now, we had many conversations with the good Lord. Her doctor would call her repeatedly in the unit while she was working and strongly recommend that she terminate the pregnancy. They recommended more testing, but those testing came with higher risks for infection and also triggering the loss of the pregnancy. After numerous calls, Josie just said, stop. Stop. We're moving forward with this. 7 months later, our daughter, Julie Marie, was born, perfectly healthy, beautiful child. And I tell you, there's no greater joy than being a father to my children. In closing, I can't tell you how blessed I am. I've had my shares of ups and downs over the last 60 years, but I've lived a life of abundance. Father Cosgrove's advice to talk to God every day and ask for guidance and direction still rings true with me today. Ladies and gentlemen, there's plenty of causes to pray for in this world. Just open the morning newspaper or turn on the TV, and you'll hear about people in every region of the globe having tough times. Everyone in this church has their own cross to bear. But after reflecting on my life, I can only tell you that I've never been more secure than when I'm praying in church and talking to God. The Lord bless you. Thank you. All fathers, have a happy Father's Day. Thanks.